Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 843 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Two-day Global Peace Summit opened in Switzerland, reports European Pravda. According to the Swiss government, the summit's aim is to initiate a peace process, generate trust, and outline ideas for the next steps towards such a process. 100 delegations are set to attend, including 57 heads of state and government from around the world. Russia has not been invited to the event. All attendees will have the opportunity to outline their vision for a just and sustainable peace in Ukraine. The summit's agenda includes plenary sessions and discussions focusing on three aspects of the peace formula: nuclear security, food security, and the humanitarian dimension. The Swiss government announced that the summit also offers the opportunity to discuss for the first time at the highest level how and when Russia can be included in this process. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky stated that the action plan agreed upon at the Global Peace Summit in Switzerland will be communicated to Russian representatives so that the Second Peace Summit can ensure the real end of the war. He also explained why Russia was not invited. Quote, "There is no Russia here today. Why? Because if Russia were interested in peace, there would be no war. We must decide together what a just peace means for the world and how it can be achieved in a truly lasting way. The UN Charter is the basis for us." Unquote. Zelensky noted that 100 states and international organizations were present at the summit. According to him, this shows that organizers managed to avoid the division of the world into opposing blocs. There are representatives from Latin America, Africa, the Middle East, Asia, the Pacific, and North America, and religious leaders. During her speech at the Global Peace Summit, US Vice President Kamala Harris emphasized the need to preserve the rule-based international system that Russia has shaken with its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Harris stressed that Russia's actions, if not punished, quote, "will encourage other aggressors and lead to the possibility of war of conquest and chaos, not order and stability, which threatens the entire world," unquote. She assured that the US will continue to support Ukraine and make Russia pay, and will also work to achieve a just and sustainable peace, stressing that nothing about ending this war can be decided without Ukraine. She also commented on demands Putin announced the day before, upon completion of which he is ready for a ceasefire. In particular, Putin demanded Ukraine's forces to leave whole Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk and Lugansk regions, Kyiv to officially recognize them and Crimea as part of Russia, and to give up the idea of joining NATO. All sanctions should be lifted as well. Kamala Harris stressed that with these proposals, Putin is not calling for negotiations, he is calling for surrender. In his speech, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stressed that it was Russia that chose the war and could end it by withdrawing its forces from Ukraine. The Chancellor emphasized that Ukraine is most interested in peace, but that it implies something more than the absence of war. Quote, "An immediate ceasefire without serious negotiations and the plan to achieve a just and lasting peace based on the so-called new realities only legitimizes Russia's territorial grabbing," unquote, he added. The Chancellor also believes that peace in Ukraine cannot be achieved without involving Russia, but noted that Moscow continues to pursue aggression against the Ukrainian population. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky, in an interview with the Italian Sky TG24 TV channel, informed that the Russians are trying to intimidate Ukrainians by striking with thousands of guided aerial bombs, reports ICTV. According to him, Russia uses 32 to 3,500 of such bombs per month. They are used exclusively against civilians and civilian infrastructure, to make people afraid and run away from one or another city or one or another village so that Russia can occupy these villages and cities. He also compared Russian actions to the carpet bombings ordered by Hitler. Quote, "It's done with the same approach and the same methodology," unquote, said Zelensky. At the Peace Summit in Switzerland, US Vice President Kamala Harris had a meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky, reports NVUA. She announced the allocation of more than 1.5 billion US dollars for Ukraine's energy sector and humanitarian needs. The money will be allocated through the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and the State Department. As reported on the part of USAID, this includes 500 million US dollars in new funding for energy assistance and the redirection of 324 million in previously announced funds for emergency energy needs in Ukraine. These funds will be used to repair war-damaged energy infrastructure, expand power generation, encourage private sector investment, and protect energy infrastructure. In addition, Vice President Harris announced that working with Congress, the State Department plans to provide an additional $300 million to support Ukrainian civil security, to provide vital equipment to Ukrainian border guards and law enforcement officers. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just two people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.